I'm keeping a secret from my wife. My wife, 24F, and I, 25F, have been married since 2020, and together since 2014. We met on the internet and were long distance through high school and college before I moved in with her, and we got married soon after. My whole life I've always enjoyed playing trading card games. Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Chaotic, Duel Masters. When I got into college and had easy access to a city and a lot of free time, I started visiting local game stores and playing in their weekly tournaments. It got to a point where I was competing in events 3 times a week, sometimes multiple events a day. My schoolwork did start to suffer, but only slightly. My partner was worried about me and also missed being able to text and hang with me on video chat, so I cooled down to 0 to 1 events per week, dropping the hobby altogether after graduating and locking in for the pandemic. We moved in together, quietly got married in the middle of the pandemic, and settled into our domestic lives as things started to calm down. I tried getting her into various card games with the time we spent together, but I couldn't find a game that suited her. Maybe someday I still can, but that's not what I'm here to lament over. As of this year, our work schedules are slightly desynchronized. I consistently start my shifts a few hours before her and finish a few hours before her. We work in different parts of the city. One day, after work, I decided to visit a local game store and play in a pre-release event where you get a bunch of new cards and play with those. I gave my cards away at the end of the event and went home. My wife came home. I didn't mention it, didn't think to. Weeks pass and now I have a few decks for a few different games that I keep hidden amongst my old collections. I visit my local stores 1 to 3 times a week after work, play some games, and come home before my wife does. She doesn't know a thing. Realistically, I can't imagine her being super against me doing this, but I think about her insistence on me cutting back in college, and ended up deciding to keep it to myself. It seemed like a harmless secret, a little thrilling even. It's not like I'm having an affair or anything. This has all been going on for a few months now, and I'm starting to feel pretty bummed. I'm having a ton of fun playing card games again. I've made some really cool friends who know I'm married, but I can't introduce my wife to them or talk about them to her without admitting to the secret that I've kept for way too long. Some of my friends are also talking about traveling to compete in major tournaments over long weekends, and I obviously can't join in on those. I'm terrified of confessing my card gaming secret to my wife, not because of the card games, but because I've kept it a secret for so long. But I also don't want to stop and pretend it never happened. And I definitely don't want to keep going like this. I told my wife my secret. So first of all, thank you Reddit for the reality check. A lot of you very kindly illustrated that my anxieties were blowing things out of proportion. A lot of you also jumped to pretty wild conclusions about the status of my marriage. My wife and I get along fantastically, and play the occasional board game together on stay-in date nights. Just not those deck-building trading card games that I take pleasure in racking up wins against total strangers against, and losing. I also like a well-deserved defeat in a good game of cards. Also, I just want to point out that I am my wife's wife. My wife and I are both women. We're lesbians. Well, technically we're both bisexual, but that's besides the point. A lot of commenters incorrectly referred to me as male despite my original post saying otherwise. Anyways, on to the update. My wife and I were having breakfast together this morning, and my anxiety around my secret card gaming was at all-time high and all-time low simultaneously. I swallowed my fear and a bite of French toast and told my wife that a local store was doing an event for the new Disney card game later that afternoon. She was vaguely aware of that card game, Lorcana, and was even more vaguely interested in it. She said that if I was interested, I should go and let her know how it went so she can maybe try the game with me together at home. I just kind of opened my mouth and didn't stop there. I explained that I had been to the store before while she was at work. A few times actually. I mentioned that I had been competing in local tournaments and leagues and other events for a couple different games, like in college. My wife nearly went into hysterics with how hilarious she found it that I not only felt like I needed to keep it a secret, but how long I got away with it. She had no idea. She joked that I could have been having an affair and she'd have been none the wiser. I showed her my original post and we laughed at the comments, especially at all the ones mistaking us for a straight couple, and she gave me lots of affectionate reassurance about my anxieties leading up to all of this. So yeah, all is well. I ended up not going to the event I referred to above because my wife can be very, distracting at times, lol. Not that I mind. I love her a lot.